In this lesson, we'll cover optimizing our scene files in order to be able to transfer our files up to the render farm faster. Since the render farm is based on a network, each of the files that we send to it need to be as small as possible so that they can be distributed to all the computers as quickly as possible. Because of this, we generally want to make sure that we only have exactly what we want to render in any individual scene. So to this end, if we have multiple scenes or multiple shots included in the same scene file in Maya, we'll want to break those down into individual components so that they can be rendered faster. Also, we will want to remove any unnecessary details, stuff that won't be actually seen, but is just sitting around maybe from a different project or from references. So to start, I've got a nice little scene here, slightly creepy, but keeps things exciting for us. I've got a single end cloth plane here. It's been fully dynamic and already cached out for us, as well as two collider objects, a ground and a small cube, which, as we see when we scroll through our timeline, just passes through the cloth. Alrighty. So, first off, to start cleaning this up, I'm going to go into my outliner and see if there's any sort of stuff that I don't really need. Here we go. So, first off, we can see that we've got these two little cube objects that are just hidden over on the side here. Not really doing anything for me. I don't want them in my scene file, so I'm going to go ahead and delete them. Also, we can see that we've got two cameras in here. A shot cam from a mid-angle point and a shot cam from a high angle. Oops, hey up. Let's move this guy back down into position. There we go. So, since we've got two different cameras, we're going to want to save this out as two separate scene files, but I'll get to that in a second. So, next step is to go through and make sure that I don't have any unnecessary textures. So I'll just go ahead and open up my Hypershade, and straight off the bat we'll see that we've got a few unnecessary ones in here. Not sure what the splint is going to, isn't probably being used for anything. One way of being able to check this though is to go to Edit, Delete Unused Nodes. This will go through and clean out any sort of textures that are not being applied to my immediate scene. This also cleans out any texture nodes, utilities, rendering information, any sort of information that's not actually being used in my scene. Fantastic. All right. So another basic tip that we want to use, though it's often, be gone. There we go. So another tool that's really helpful for cleaning up our scene files is under File, Optimize Scene File. If we go ahead and click our options, this will go through and clean out any sort of node that isn't being used in our scene, is empty, or is unknown to Maya. This normally happens if we bring a file from 2015 to 2016 or import something from a non-native format like an OBJ or an STL. Generally, Maya is pretty good about cleaning those up on its own, but just to be on the safe side, we can go through and under these remove settings, remove unknown nodes. This is a permanent process, so you generally want to save right before doing this, just to make sure that we don't delete anything that we actually want. But for the most part, the default settings should be fine. So I'll go ahead and optimize that, hit OK, and we can check in our node editor just to see if there was anything that was actually removed. There we go. And yippee me, there's nothing invalid or unnecessary here. Fantastic. So at this point, we can actually go through and start dividing down our scene files so that they are more compact and ready for render farm usage. So first off, I'm just going to save this out as an independent scene. And I'm going to call this one render farming. And I tend to use the camera name just so that we are able to distinguish which shot and sequence this is. If you have an Automatic, I would recommend that you include your scene, shot, and sequence number in these file names just so that you're able to more readily break them down. But I've only got two cameras here. So this is going to be shotcam underscore mid angle underscore static 01. I think I missed part of that naming convention, but we'll go with it. All right. And I'll go ahead and save out another scene as the other camera. So shotcam underscore top down underscore truck 01. So for my truck camera, which we can see is the one that I've got here selected at the moment, I'm going to go to my outliner. and go ahead and delete the mid-angle camera, since we're not going to be using that in this scene file. All right, we can see that we've transferred over. So I'm going to go ahead and save this file again, then go to BGone, go to File, Open Scene, and go ahead and open up my mid-angle scene file so that I can go and delete the unnecessary camera there. Any day now. We can see that even though it's saying that the file is being read in 2.6 seconds, we need to keep in mind that this is going to be opening up on multiple computers at the same time on the farm, so it's going to be a little bit slower there. Best to keep these opening times as low as possible so we don't have to worry about that. So now that I'm in the mid-angle camera file, I'm going to go ahead and delete the top-down camera. And that is pretty much it. All of these scene files are pretty much as optimized as they're going to get. So we'll just go ahead and save this one out. And in the next lesson, we'll go over setting up our network connection to the render farm and transferring our files.